In recent years, the world has been stunned by the revival of Russia's military industry. Many believed that Western sanctions would crush its production capacity. Yet the reality is the opposite. Russia has turned pressure into opportunity, and now it presents a very real threat on the battlefield. The next-generation main battle tank, the T-90M Proryv. For military observers, this is more than just a technical development. It is a strategic message from Moscow. Russia is preparing for a long war. At first, this tank was built in small numbers. In 2022, production barely reached 70 units, but war changed everything. By 2023, the numbers rose dramatically, and by 2024, Russia was already producing nearly 300 tanks each year. This growth proved that its industrial system had not collapsed under sanctions. Instead, it adapted. The next ambition is even clearer: to produce up to 1,000 T-90Ms annually by 2028, a scale not seen since the Cold War. This acceleration does not come only from brand new tanks. A large share comes from mass modernization. Older T-90s are pulled from storage, upgraded, and transformed into the T-90M standard. With this strategy, Russia preserves quantity while improving quality, filling battlefield losses quickly without the cost of starting from scratch. It is a blend of efficiency and speed, designed for war that drags on. The T-90M is not just an upgrade, it is a new beast. Its relict explosive reactive armor offers higher resistance against modern anti-tank weapons. Its active protection and soft kill systems disrupt guided missiles and confuse loitering drones. Its 125mm gunfires advanced kinetic rounds and guided anti-tank missiles, extending its reach far beyond older Soviet designs. Add to this modern thermal imagers and digital communications, and the T-90M becomes not merely a tank, but a critical node in Russia's integrated battlefield network. On the battlefield, the T-90M rarely fights alone. It moves in formations guided by reconnaissance drones, protected by artillery, and often supported by air cover. This layered approach minimizes its exposure to anti-tank fire, boosting its survivability. As production expands, these tactics could shift the balance of ground warfare. Each tank is no longer just a weapon, it is part of Russia's kill chain, linking sensors, shooters, and commanders into one deadly system. For Ukraine, the explosion in Russian tank numbers is a nightmare. Much of its armored fleet still relies on aging T-64s and T-72s. Western donations of Leopard 2s, Challenger 2s, and Abrams tanks help, but only in small numbers. When Russia can deploy hundreds of brand new T-90Ms each year, the balance tilts heavily against Kyiv. Ukraine is not only outnumbered, but increasingly outclassed. Weapons that once held the line, javelins, NLAWs, and the Ukrainian-made Stugna P, remain lethal, but supplies are thinning. Meanwhile, the T-90M's protection systems reduce their effectiveness. Ukraine now faces two problems at once: dwindling stockpiles of precision weapons and an enemy tank that is harder to kill. Without a steady flow of Western resupply, the gap will only widen. What makes the T-90M even more dangerous is how it fights as part of a larger system. Drones spot targets, artillery softens defenses, and tanks advance at the perfect moment to exploit the chaos. This combined approach makes counterattacks nearly impossible. Ukrainian anti-tank teams often find themselves destroyed before they can even fire. The battle is no longer tank versus tank. It is a clash of integrated warfighting networks. This is not just Ukraine's problem. NATO itself faces a serious dilemma. Stockpiles are drained. European and American factories must work overtime to keep pace, and tough political choices loom. Should NATO expand its military industry to match Russia, or step back, fearing the cost and the risks of escalation? Either path carries consequences that will shape Europe's future. Sending more advanced tanks or heavier weapons to Ukraine might help, but it could also provoke direct confrontation with Moscow. Within NATO, divisions are growing. Some members demand stronger support. Others hesitate, weighed down by financial strain and domestic politics. Yet, the more T-90Ms roll off Russian assembly lines, the greater the pressure on NATO to act. The T-90M is not just another tank. It is a symbol of Russia's industrial resilience and a warning that the balance of power is shifting. Ukraine faces a growing threat that demands answers in logistics, technology, and politics. NATO must decide whether to strengthen its military industry or accept a future where Russia dictates the pace of the war. On today's battlefield, production numbers speak louder than political speeches. The question is, who will keep up? This content is created for information and analysis only. Numbers and estimates are based on open-source reports and may change over time. For a detailed list of references, check the comments or description below. If you want a deeper dive with graphics, production charts, and animated battle scenes of the T-90M, leave a comment saying, "Do it." And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next analysis.